Hi, welcome. In this video, I'm going to go over assignment 2. So let's get started. So I'm on our home page. I'm going to click assignments and we're going to do assignment 2. Another way to get there is you can just go to modules. You should be currently in the second module, the third module, which is flow of control and function. So before doing assignment 2, obviously you should go through, you should look at all of the instructional material, watch the videos, and have some understanding of how to do conditions and loops and functions before starting this assignment. This assignment has a lot of conditions, loops, and functions. So be sure to go through the instructional material. So the instructional material is organized. We have two overview videos. You have flow and functions. And then here you have some more videos. So this video right here, they're all labeled. This is a video on um, flow and functions. Then you have conditions, loops, functions, and functions again. So there's a lot of videos here. There's also PowerPoint slides and also sample code, so please utilize all the resources before starting your assignment. Then after going through all the instructional material, if you want to get some reviews here from the Programming 1 class, Introduction to Programming in C, there are additional videos on conditionals and loops. And so you can go ahead and take a look at that. Then we are ready for our assignment. So we are now on assignment 2. So let's take a look at the instructions. So a couple of things that I recommend is you look at, first of all, don't make any assumptions. If you have questions, please ask. Uh, Look through the instructions carefully. There's also a sample output file here, and there's also a template to help you get started. Now, obviously, this says video coming soon because I'm recording the video right now. The name of your file should be your last name, A2. It should be a .cpp file, so you don't need to submit a screenshot for this assignment, just a plain text file with a .cpp extension. So remember that source code is plain text. So if you do it in an online compiler, which is what I'm going to do today, I will show you how to save it in Notepad as a .cpp. Of course, you can use Notepad++. If you are on a Mac computer, I recommend setting your text edit to plain text to make sure that your file is plain text. All right, so let's get started. Let's take a look at the instructions. So the instructions are you're going to make some functions here, so you get a lot of practice. Uh, Here we go. All right, so the purpose of this is to do if else and loops and functions. So this is going to have all void functions. So you will see here you're going to do 5 programmer defined functions. They're all going to be void functions, which means they all have void return type. In the next assignment, we will add functions that have a return type other than void, like integer functions or double functions or character functions. But for this assignment, we're just going to do void functions. So you're going to do a program that's going to uh, get some information from the user and calculate some information about what is entered. So a good way to understand what I'm looking for is to take a look at the sample output. So let's first take a look at the sample output. So here is the sample output. Yeah, let's zoom this in a little bit more. All right, so the sample output is you're going to have the user enter their name, the year they were born, and their current age. You know, this month right now is not, we're not in December, so we're not December 31st. So some people might not have changed, they might be a different age. So, and again, this is just an exercise, so it doesn't really matter. But try to be, you can put in weird ages and weird years, and it should still work. It'll just give you different things. It's mostly going to deal with the year anyway. So, but in my output, I tried to be consistent. So you're going to get information for 3 people. So just the first name, the year they were born, and their current age. and you can make things up like this. Like my grandmother, Olga, she was born in 1899. She's not still alive, but if she was still alive, she'd be 125. Then we have Bob, who was born in 1967, who's 58. And then we have Lisa, who was born in 1964, who is 61. So this should have a space here. My output is a little, it would have been better for a little space here. So this is the information for the three users. Then once I get this information, then you're going to decide which generation the person is based on their birth year. So if we go back here and take a look at the assignment instructions, you will see that you're going to use conditions for this. So if they were born before 1901 and 1927, you're going to say that they are in the GI generation. Between 1928 and 45, traditionalist generation or the silent generation, etc. So you're going to have to use conditions that is going to take the year, and this function is going to take the year. You're going to have two parameters. You're going to have the name of the person so that you can print out in there because these are void functions. They don't return anything. So the first function is going to get the name, the age, and the year. You're going to call this function 3 times. Then the next function is going to get the name and the year. But the difference is when you're getting input, you're going to use reference parameters. And here you're going to use value parameters. This is on purpose just for practice. And you will notice down here, I'm asking you to use constant reference parameters because I want you to practice the different types of parameters. So this is you're going to go through, and when you get the year, you're going to compare the year. So when this function gets called, it's going to make its own copy of the year and its own copy of the name. And then you're going to test, if they are in this range, you're going to print, oh, you're in the greatest generation. If they're in this range, you're going to print, you're in the silent generation. If they're before 1901, like the sample output I showed you, print a message. I printed in my output, I decided to print, wow, you were born before 1901. So those you're going to have uh, because it's a ranges, you're going to use if else. So you're going to use like if, else if, else if, else if, else if, etc. However you want to organize it, I suggest doing lots of test cases to make sure it works as expected. Then the next thing you're going to do, so that's the first thing. So you're going to call this function 3 times to get the name, age, and year. Then you're going to call this function 3 times because you're going to get, you're going to have to uh, make a copy of this name and year, make a copy of this name and year, and make a copy of this name and year. Then you're going to find out which one is the oldest and which one is the youngest. You're only going to call these functions 1 time each because you're going to pass the name and the age, the name and the age, the name and the age to the youngest function. And you're going to pass the name and the age, the name and the age, and the name and the age to the oldest. Again, this is more practice. This is just practicing, doing conditions and comparing things. It's a little tedious, but that's the point of exercises is to practice. And then the last thing you're going to do is so these functions are here. So your function, this is to get the age, name, and year. This is the function to find the generation category. This is the function takes 6 parameters to find the oldest. This is the function takes 6 parameters to find the youngest. And then you're going to have one more function you're going to call, and you're going to call this function 3 times. This function's going to find out and print all of the leap years. So Olga was born in 1899. That's why I picked. The year 1904 is not a leap year, but every other year for every 4 years is a leap year. The year 2000 is a leap year, but the year 1900 is not a leap year. So again, I don't know how many people were born before 1900, but just for practice. And these are the years since Bob was born that were leap years. These are the years since Lisa was born that were leap years. So you're going to do this over and over again if the user enters Y to continue or N to quit. So the logic is I think I used a do while loop. You're going to get this information with this function, call this function 3 times, call this function 3 times, call the youngest function once, call the oldest function once, and call the leap year function 3 times, and then say, would you like to do it again? And if they say yes, then you do it again. So here we do it again. We have born in 2009, 1997, which I think is very funny because 2009 and 1997, according to the information I found on the internet, are both Gen Z and they're 12 years apart. And 1997 and 1995 are Gen Z and Gen Y. So that's very funny to me because these are, I mean, there has to be a line somewhere. Okay, so then I did it one more time, and then I did it one more time just to show that the thing is, I put two people that are the same age. Now I don't care if you want to go the extra mile to try to put both Joan and Judy as the oldest, but it's okay to just have one person as the oldest and one person as the youngest. So please keep that in mind. I'm not looking for you to try to add the extra feature so that if you have more than one, you print them both. So if you have two people, you could say the oldest person is Judy and her age is 84, or you could have said the oldest person is Joan and the age is 84. It doesn't really matter, but you're still going to do all the leap years for all of them. And then when the user finally puts N to quit, you're going to stop. So that's the assignment, 5 programmer-defined functions. The idea is to build them one at a time. You're going to submit a last name a2.cpp and just some other things. You should not be using AI to do this assignment. This is assignment that you should do by yourself. I already gave you assignment 0 that you can play around with AI all you want. But for this assignment, assignment 2, you should work on this yourself. I'm going to go through some tips to help you get started. So let's get started. All right, so now I have that. I've looked at the sample output, I've gone over the assignment, and I have template code here to help me get started. So I'm going to copy this template code and I'm going to launch a compiler. I'm just going to use the same one I keep using. Hopefully it won't glitch. All right, so here I am. I've put this code in here to help you get started. Now keep in mind you're going to need to have uh, it should have 5 functions, so I'm going to have to fix that. Sometimes I notice things, so it should have 5 functions. There's not 2 parts to it either, so I'm going to fix that as well. So this is going to have 5 functions. This is assignment 2. Sometimes I use something that I already used, so and this gives you a template and an overview of what I'm looking for. I want the function prototypes to be at the top and then the function definitions go at the bottom. So you do have 3 more functions to add. You have the get info function, you have the generation function. So if you take a look at the assignment specifications, the assignment says to have 5 functions here. So you have a generation function, so you're going to need to add that to your assignment. So the generation function would be a void return type. You can call it whatever you want. I think it says it takes a string name for the first name and a int year. This is a pass by value. So this one you're going to pass by value. These you pass by reference for practice. You have a find youngest function. You have also a find oldest function, and you have also a leap year function. So you should have good code style and you should add comments. I've already given you some with comments so you can practice. You should have practice putting comments. More comments is better when you're learning. So we do have our leap year, define the oldest. You can use this as a guide to do the find the oldest. And the leap year function, it takes the name and the birth year by constant reference parameters. So that's just for more practice. So we would have our void leap year function. is going to take uh, I think it takes the name and the year, but instead of it's going to have a constant reference parameter for practice. So go back and look that up, what that is. It's in the lecture. And a constant integer uh, for the year. So these would be the prototypes right here. I want the prototypes above the main and then the function definitions below the main. I gave you the loop since this is your first assignment with a loop. The loop is a do while loop. It goes like this. Uh, you do, you get the names one by one. You, oh, that's spelled wrong. Okay, you're going to call the get info function 3 times to do that. You call the category function 3 times. Then you find the youngest. Then you find the oldest. And then you call the leap year function 3 times. Then you say, would you like to go again, yes or no? And then the user would say yes or no. At this point, it should compile because there isn't, oh, maybe there's one thing that won't make it compile. Okay. This is funny because I put this in a C compiler instead. See how this is an online C compiler and not a C++ compiler? So I need to close out of this and I need to get an online C++ compiler. I was doing some C stuff before this. So I just opened. So let's get to the online C++ compiler. Now let's try again. All right, so this, if I hit yes, it's going to say yes, yes, no. Okay, so this is just this is just the loop going. So we're going to do a couple of functions together. The first function we will do together will get the name and the age, and we'll print it onto the screen just for practice. So we're going to have a cout, enter name. So I'm just going to get the name, and then you guys can get the rest of the information. Cin, name. You're going to do the same thing, enter age and enter year. So you would call this function. I'm not sure if it'll work without, I think it will. Let's see. So the get info function is going to take, so in order to use this, we have to declare, obviously you have to declare the string name, age, and year. It might give us an issue, but we will see if it'll work. So you're going to match this name is local to this function, but it's actually passing the address. So go back and look at the how reference parameters work. And all right. So let's and then after you're going to call it 3 times because you're going to get 3 different name, ages, and years. This is incomplete, obviously, because I want you guys to do some work on your own. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but we're going to try and see. Let's see. So, yep. So here I declared the age and the year as strings. All right, let's try again. Enter name, enter name, enter name. All right, so it seems to be working. We can try it again. Enter name, enter name, enter name. All right, so obviously you're going to need to add to that. You need to add the name, the age, and the year. I want to leave some things for you to do for yourself. Then we have our find the youngest function. So we also have our generation function. So I'm going to give you a little information about this. Obviously here you need to add comments. And we can copy and paste this down here. So the next one we want to do is our generation function. So what is our generation function going to do? It's going to make a copy of the year and the name. So in order to use our generation function, I'm going to have to get the year. So enter year. You're also going to have to get the age because you're going to need the age to do the find youngest and the find oldest. So the generation is going to test if year is, and we have to go look at our assignment because I don't remember, 1901 to 1927. Okay, if year is greater than or equal to 1901 and year is less than or equal to 19, I don't remember what 1927, then what are you going to do based on that? You're going to see out, you're going to put the name. I would put an N line just to make sure you're going to a new line. Name, you are in the, what is the generation for that? You are in the greatest generation. Greatest generation. So this assignment is really not that hard. It's a little tedious, but that's the point, is that you want to practice, right? So then the next one would be else if. So you would say else if year is greater than or equal to 1928. I don't remember. To 1945. To 1945. You are in the silent generation. So let's and then you're going to have to add to this, but else, uh, see out. Wow, you were born before 1901. And obviously add the name there. I'm just trying to, I want you to add things. So here you would add the name. See how we're adding the name? But I want to do just a couple just to make sure it works as expected. So let's call the generation function. So we will call this function with our name and year that are local to our main function. And then we will call it 3 times because we're going to have 3 different names and 3 different years. So let's give that a try. All right, so we will try Bob. He was born in 1933. Oops, 1933. And then we have Steve, and he was born in, what years did I cover here? I want to make sure. 1912. And we have Geo, and he was born in 1800. All right, so we have, wow, you were born. Ooh, so something is not working as expected. So 1933, if it's greater than 1933, 1933 should have printed the silent generation. So let's find out what we did wrong here. So we have if year is greater than 1928 and year is less than or equal to 1945, it should have printed this. So let's see why it's not doing that. If I entered my year, I enter the year, I'm getting the name, I'm getting the year, I'm passing the name and the year. So let's check here. Oops. Let's check. Ugh, I have to stop. Okay, so here I'm going to check, see out. Year is. So this is a very good to show you if you cannot figure out why something's not working as expected. S- We're going to, uh, and name is, and you guys are probably looking at this and seeing what the issue is right away, but I'm not saying it. So I'm going to go ahead and print onto the screen and try to figure it out. So what am I doing here? As soon as the generation function gets called, it will print the year and it'll print the name. And then I will see uh, what's printing to see why every time it's going to the last else. Year is year and name is name. And so now it's saying I am missing a semicolon. Year is year and name is name. Oh, huh, there we go. Okay, so try Bob, who was born in 1933. And we can try Steve, who was born in 1912. And Geo, who was born in 1800. Okay, so here we have year is 1800. So, ah, huh, that's very funny. Do you see what happened here? I'm passing the same, so my logic is off. So I need to get the information, and then when I'm calling this function, I am passing the last name that I got every single time. So how would I solve this problem? Well, obviously, if I'm going to need three names and three ages and I'm also going to need 3 years. So I need name one. I have to stop. I need name one. I need name two. And I'm going to need three different names, three different ages, and 3 different years because I'm going to be comparing them, right? So I need age one, age two, age three, and I also need year one, year two, and year three. So here I would get name one, age one, and year one, name one, name two, age two, and year two, and name three, age three, and year three. So this would be name one and year one, name two and year two, and name three and year three. So let's try it again. I have Bob, which was 1933. I have So here's another thing. This is another thing about being careful with input because you will notice that I tried to put Bob in 1933, so now I've completely messed up my input. You want to wait till you get your prompt, and strings can mess things up because of the white space, so you want to be very careful how you do your input, that you enter, hit enter. Enter the year and hit enter. Get the next name and hit enter, and the year and hit enter, and the next name and the year and hit enter. So Bob is in the silent generation and Steve is in the greatest generation. And wow, Geo was born before 1901. So I've gotten my get info to work as expected. All I did was make sure I have three names, three ages, 3 years. Then I that when this function gets called, it's going to go here. These are pass by reference parameters. You need to also enter the age. Then after I do that 3 times, I will call the generation function one by one. This would be with my first person, my second person, and my third person. Then I need to find the youngest. with my name and age, name and age, name and age, 1, 2, 3. Find the oldest, 1, 2, 3, and then I need to get all of the leap years, and that would be my final function that I'm going to do. So hopefully this helps you get started, and hopefully this helps you understand what I'm looking for. Please don't hesitate to ask questions if you have any questions, and I hope you have fun working on this assignment.